Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Bad Roommates. First up we have... I cannot stand my newest roommate. We had an argument, and I am now afraid to exist in my own apartment because she threatened to fight me physically. By Incandescent Lights. I, 24 female, have lived in the same 4-bedroom apartment for almost 6 years now. I've had a lot of different roommates, and the vast majority of them have all been pretty chill. The worst I had to deal with was a roommate who would leave dishes in the sink for weeks, unless I did them, and steal my and other people's food. I thought that was as bad as it could get, but I was wrong. I currently feel like I'm walking on eggshells in my own home. I've been here 6 years. Roommate A, 3.5 years, roommate B, 2 years, roommate C, 8-ish months. We were all cool with each other. We'd go out to clubs, parties, dinners, hell, we'd even all go to the laundromat or a grocery shop together. We shared food, cooked for each other, shared clothes, celebrated holidays, birthdays, job promotions. We were very close. A couple of months ago, roommate C has to move out for a job opportunity, and we needed someone to fill his room ASAP. Roommate A said he had a friend who was in need of a room, and I decided to roll with it. Fast forward a few weeks, A texts the group that his friend, we'll call her D for continuity purposes, was going to move a few things in since she had to leave her previous spot before she was able to move into the room in my apartment. Fine, I thought. Sounds a little shady. About 3 days before C moved out, I left my room one morning to find the living room packed with boxes, bags, furniture, and other assorted things. How the hell is she going to fit all that in one room, I remember thinking. C moves out and D starts officially moving in. And then the cleanliness rules hit. No dishes are ever to be left in the sink, not for an hour, not for half a day, certainly not overnight. If we left so much as a small plate in the sink, we'd wake up to a paragraph text from D telling us to do our dishes because she doesn't like the bad energy that dirty dishes bring. Nobody can touch her groceries. Somehow she noticed that I used a scoop of her coffee one morning and again sent us a paragraph about not touching her groceries. This has always been a sharing household unless otherwise specified. Eggs, coffee, milk, bread, rice, etc. all get shared, and when we're running low, someone replaces it. Every time we leave a little water on the bathroom counter, paragraph. Leave a spoon in the sink, paragraph. Don't take the trash out right away. That's a paragraph. Now for the real problem. My mom is about to be visiting, so I need the living room clear so I can set up the air mattress for her. The roommate has been here for about 2 months now, and has still not unpacked all her things that'll make it real easy to move her out. My living room is full of boxes and piles of her things. I've been asking for a whole month for her to put her things in the room. None of us can use the living room because of all her things. She constantly makes excuses. I don't have money for a storage unit. Apparently I have money to act like a bitch. I don't have room to put it in my room right now. I don't have money to buy storage for my room to put it away. Meanwhile, I left a bag of my vintage and sentimental clothes I intended to sell, or put in my room, in the living room. It was one big tote bag. I tucked it away in the corner, and due to me not being able to get to it due to the stacks of her stuff in the way, it was there for a few weeks. I finally decided I wanted one of the items in the bag, so I went in the living room to get it. Lo and behold, it's gone. I started sobbing. She comes out. I ask her where my bag went. She says she got rid of it. Bitch. I ask why, and she says, well, if you didn't want it gone, you should have put it in your room. Well, that sounds like a precedent's being set. Tidy up your living room. Throw her crap out. You can cry about it all you want, but it's gone now. Tell her that when you do it. And then she shuts down and won't even look at me. I ran off to my room crying. Meanwhile, she has had our living room full of her boxes for 2 months. Fast forward. It's now last Friday. I remind everyone that my mom is coming and I need the living room cleared. Nothing moves. Fast forward again to this afternoon. Nothing has moved. Mind you, this whole time she has been making these weird cleaning demands to make her comfortable because I was just raised that way. It's just respectful. Well, you're living with other people now. It's respectful to adapt to how they're doing things when you're coming into a place where there's already a precedent. You absolute moron. I see her in the kitchen and ask if everything is going to be out of the living room like I requested. She says, "Yeah, I'll try, but I don't have room, so I'll probably just stack it all in the corner." I'm sorry. What? No. So I tell her that no, it all needs to be in her room. She says, "Well, okay, but also this air mattress thing?" "Yeah, no, this is a public space, so your mama's gonna have to put it away every morning so I can sit in the living room because I need sunlight. My room doesn't get very much." Well, then go outside. I said, "Well, you can still sit on the couch. Not like it's that different than you having all your boxes all over the living room." Then we got into a screaming match because she completely invalidated my position. Then she made fun of me for crying. Got my other roommate involved, made him try to take her side, made me feel so crazy that I started crying, and then said, "I won't talk to anyone who cries like this. I'm not going to acknowledge you even exist anymore. I can't deal with you." I stormed off to my room, slammed my door, kept sobbing. And then a few seconds later, she's on the phone ranting about me to her friend. Great, she'd go and live with a friend. Problem solved. About how insane and disrespectful I am. And she wonders why she has hardly any friends and can't keep a job because she's a bitch. I started yelling at her through my door because she was entirely misrepresenting the situation. She said, "I'll never speak to anyone who raises their voice to me. F her. She's crazy. She hasn't changed since 5 years ago." That's in reference to a fight we had, a long story. She then threatened to physically fight me. So I ran out of the apartment and didn't come home for 2 hours, as I just wandered around the city crying. My other roommate says he'll evict her. Good. She's subletting, not on the lease like him and I are, but he says he'll tell her she has until September 15th. So now I just have to live in discomfort and fear for the next few weeks. She's also a self-proclaimed witch. I'm going to assume that was a typo, but says I'm not even worth her energy to curse. That I'll face the wrath of her ancestors. Her ancestors probably don't like her either, and I'll get what's coming to me, as if I believe in any of that. My mom gets here tomorrow, and I don't even know what to do. Move her crap. All her stuff is still in the living room, so I can't set up the air mattress. She left the apartment at some point when I was gone and hasn't been back since. She's probably staying at a friend's place. No, nothing will move from the living room. She's about to make my life a living hell, I just know it. I'm scared to even leave my room. I don't know what to do. Okay, and that brings us to story number 2. Rant About My Old Roommate by AltoSax1. I had an absolutely awful roommate for my first year of college. For some context, I am a music education major, and our university has a music major-only building that people can choose to room in. Unfortunately, it's a single room with 2 beds, so there's basically no privacy. I was randomly assigned to room with this one guy. He was actually pretty nice to start. Oh, they often are, aren't they? He was very extroverted, liked sparking up conversations. And used to be a pleasant guy that lasted for about a week. The problems became very apparent very quickly. The first problem that I noticed right away is that he's very unorganized and dirty. He regularly just leaves piles of snack bags and clothes on the floor, and never cleans it up on his own unless I ask him to. The next problem that probably upset me the most is that it's almost as if he acts like I'm not sharing the room with him. One of those. There are many times where he will set an alarm and just hit the snooze button over and over again, not realizing that it wakes me up every time as well. When he shaves in the sink, he doesn't clean up after himself, so there's just hair everywhere, and he clutters up his side of the room so much to the point where I have to make accommodations to my side of the room. Now this next one is a little gross, so trigger warning to anyone who's a bit squeamish. There was one time where my roommate told me that he wasn't feeling too well, so he was going to sleep early. This didn't sound out of the ordinary, since he's constantly getting sick. Yay. I went to sleep shortly after that, thinking nothing was wrong. I then wake up at around 3 in the morning to him vomiting all over my side of the room. I won't get into too much detail. We all know what vomit's like, but it was a complete mess. He then quickly went into our shared bathroom and took a shower. Now I assumed that, like any normal and self-respecting person, he would clean up his mess as soon as he was done showering. He just got out and went straight to sleep. And, of course, the next morning there was still vomit all over my side of the room. I finally had enough, and yelled at him to clean it up by the time I got back from my classes, or I would report him, do it anyway, and try to get him kicked out of the dorm room. When I got back, I was honestly surprised to see that my side of the room was clean again. But it turns out that his friend actually cleaned it up for him. He was so lazy that he couldn't even be bothered to clean up his own vomit. Damn, that's a friend. I, of course, confronted him about it, asking why he was always like this, and he just responds that he was too sick to. I didn't buy that at all. Probably because it was covered in vomit. There's no way someone is too sick to clean up vomit that's literally within 5 feet of them. It turns out that he was lying straight to my face, and the friend that helped him out. He got very high the night before, to the point of overdosing, and was basically bedridden after throwing up. It's an herb, man. Now, I personally don't care if someone gets high or drunk at college. Handle your high, though. But when it starts to negatively affect the people around you, then that's a whole different issue. At this point, I was completely done with him. I stopped initiating conversations with him, and would only reply quickly if he talked to me. I just couldn't believe that someone that was this lazy and lacked any accountability actually exists. Probably got a career in politics ahead of him, I assume. The part that sucks is that being a music major, we have to take many 1 and 2 credit hour classes, since the system is just not set up very well in our favor, which leads to me having to take 13 to 16 classes a semester. So being able to relax in my room after an incredibly long day has been my escape. But now that my room is just cluttered with his garbage, I can't get a full night's sleep because he never actually gets up the first time his alarm goes off. Just caused this already stressful major to be borderline impossible. The worst part about this is that he genuinely thinks that he doesn't have a problem. He thinks that everyone lives like him, and I'm just a weird exception that likes to stay clean constantly. Before anyone asks, yes, I have told him to get his act together many times. Yeah, that'll work. I even spoke to an RA about it, but he just doesn't change. This happened last year, and thankfully I have a much better roommate that's actually competent. But it's just funny to think about how awful this whole experience was. Well, I'm certainly glad you've been able to move on from that mess. And third story today is, your rules are targeting me. Roommate cries and freaks out over basic boundary, by Ridley Riddle. So anyway, it's pretty basic and universal that if any roommate is gonna have guests staying over, we at least communicate it. That's not some unique rule that I pull from thin air. My roommate often has her girlfriend stay over. I don't mind if it's just an overnight here and there, whatever. I've only met the girlfriend twice before this, so she is basically a stranger to me, and they have only casually dated about 5 months on and off before this, so they honestly don't truly know each other in my humble opinion. They're in the early stages of dating, basically nobody truly knows this person. But this happens. Roommate had her girlfriend stay over for 2 whole nights and 2 whole days consecutively, leaving her here all day while she went to work and everything, without even communicating it to any of us. No, I can get the 2 nights thing, but just leaving them alone in the apartment, that's not good. It's a Tuesday morning, and my dog just died. Oh, I'm so sorry. So I'm feeling pretty down. Everyone else is at work, all cars are gone, house is empty. I go to my kitchen, all cozy in my jammies, and I'm brewing some coffee. It's nice to have the house to myself for once, because I'm always keeping face up for everybody. even though I just want to cry about my dog. I'm zoned out, taking in the nice smell of the fresh brew and also starting to cry thinking about my dog. When suddenly I hear this deep, jarring from down the hallway. I freeze. My stomach drops. Who the hell is in my house? I listen some more, and pinpoint it's coming from my roommate's room. But she is 100% not home, and the sound sounded nothing like her. The room has back door access, so I'm freaking out thinking some dude broke in. We live in an area known for these. I'm assuming both dudes and break-ins. I text our roommate group chat and ask if anyone has anyone over. She responds with, "Oh, that's probably Tiffany. Sorry, she should be going soon." Yeah, it sounds like she's coming right now. I check with my boyfriend and our other roommate if they are comfortable with a guest staying unannounced like this while the roommate is away, and they both agree to a hard no. So I politely message the chat saying, "Oh, okay, it's okay for today, but in future can we please communicate if a guest is staying for multiple days or nights, and let's avoid having guests staying over while we're away. This way everyone is on the same page and there are no surprises. Thank you." Be like Radiohead, no surprises. I even told her it's totally fine for her girlfriend to stay until she's off work, for the day this time. That since it's our first time talking about it, even though in my opinion it's basic courtesy, that it's fair for a girlfriend to hang out. Roommate goes into hysterics. "But of course you're telling her no. You can't tell the special one no. How dare you? Shame on you, shame." Start saying this rule is targeted, made at her. Sending novels to the chat. Says that she's moving out soon anyway and just needs her girlfriend's support right now. Cries that her girlfriend doesn't have a car, and more. Mind you, roommate is in her mid-20s and the girlfriend is about 30. I reassure her that she's not being attacked and assert that this is a basic boundary. I mean, she sounds like a basic bitch. She should understand basic boundaries. A common courtesy. The other roommates offer support and agree in the chat. She ends up emoting a heart at my message, and I thought that was that. But it was a heart of vengeance, I assume. But then I hear the girlfriend's phone ringing, and I can hear the roommate loudly crying on the phone and telling her that she has to leave. The girlfriend puts her big, dirty boots on. We have a strict no-shoes rule that she has broken before. We talked about it, so she knows, and proceeds to clomp into my kitchen and make herself a sandwich. I don't know why the sandwich broke me. All right, be professional, John. We have a few more lines to do. Then roommate pulls out front about 15 minutes later and they leave. Later that day, roommate comes home alone, keeps her sunglasses on, and goes straight to her room. Her room is next to the living room, and I hear her call her parents and loudly cry on the phone about the whole thing. Her parents come pick her up and take her out out for dessert. I misread that as take her out to the desert. I thought they were gonna. I know because she posted a picture on Instagram. I then had to get on a 5 a.m. flight out of state, so I didn't see her for a bit after. Lucky you. Holy crap, what in tarnation. She hasn't done that again since. But again, I'm so bloody baffled. And the fourth story today is anonymous. Getting ready for college was one of the most exciting things. I was never really away from home, as I didn't do sports and couldn't go away that often. I'm an only child, for context, so I knew when it came to living with someone, especially a complete stranger, I knew there would be some compromises I'd have to make, and I was totally willing and understanding of that. We met through Instagram and hit it off fast. I've never heard of that before for roommates. Well, it's the first for me anyway. We had so many things in common. I swear I thought she was some long-lost twin. We texted for a month, coordinated dorm theme, all the fun stuff. Fast forward to move-in day. Everything was going great. She came a lot later, but didn't care because I got to have a moment alone with my mom before she left and had some me time to compose myself. When she gets here, I give her her space to move in and be with her family and whatnot. Everything was going great. We'd go around campus together, have late-night talks till like 2 a.m. I also want to mention I'm a nursing student, which means I have to be up at 6 a.m. for classes that start at 8 a.m. It's a good 10-minute walk across campus, so I always left early, and I like to give myself time in the morning to get ready without rushing. I won't reveal her major, but her classes didn't start until around 10 or 10:30 a.m. She knew I had to have an alarm go off and get ready and dressed in the room. Okay, agreement made. Everything is going well. I'm making friends and lose the homesickness. Nearing October is when it turns into a nightmare. One day she randomly blurts out, "You put your cream on too loud." Excuse me? I laugh awkwardly and say, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I hear you rubbing it on in the morning when you come back from the bathroom. It's loud." I was in disbelief of what I was hearing. Someone's not adjusting to being away from home, is she? Did I seriously just get told I put lotion on too loud? I promise you I did not slap lotion on and slap it up and down my arms. You should start doing that and whistle a jaunty tune as you do so. She says that plain as day. Okay, I guess I'll be a little more quiet. How? I don't bloody know. But I tried. The following week she says it again in front of the whole friend group. There were 9 of us. Everyone looks at her like confused dogs. I look around, ticked off that she said that in front of all our friends. One of them asks, "What does that even matter?" Yeah, we'd all love to know. Now, I knew the first night we moved in, she told me she was a light sleeper, but told me not to worry about when I wake up early, that she would be fine. Guess not anymore. Next. "Can you spray your perfume in the hallway? It's hurting my eyes." First, my lotion is too loud. Now my perfume hurts her eyes all of a sudden. Then it became no scents were allowed in the room until she approved of them. Now, I know most people at this point go, "Why aren't you saying anything? It's your room too." I'm getting there. Next. "I'm gonna be awake, but I want the lights off whenever you come to the room." Basically, I had to do everything in the dark. Night and day. I wasn't allowed to put a lamp on, open the blinds in the morning, nothing. I had to use my phone flashlight, even though she was awake. At one point I said to her, "Do you mind if I turn on the light every once in a while? I'm getting tired of walking around like I live in medieval times, like I'm supposed to have a tiny candle." She tells me, "Why? I use my phone flashlight a bunch of time. You don't really need the light." Sounds like someone needs to have her parents come pick her up and take her crazy butt back home, with a sheet over her head for the darkness. Now, at the time I was seeing a guy. I had to give her 2 days' notice if I was going to bring him to the room. Mind you, I was going out with him for a month and needed to bring him to the room one day to talk with him privately. He was a commuter. She got angry and said, "Don't make this a habit. He's going to want to come here all the time. Don't make it a habit." I go, "This is the first time in a month of seeing him. I'm letting you know I need the room for 30 minutes to talk to him in private. How's this going to be a habit? You brought 2 guys here in the first week of school and didn't give me a heads up." I'll bet they got one, though. She goes, "Still, I've had a boyfriend. You never have. He's going to want to come here all the time now. Give me 2 days' notice." I don't know if it was jealousy. She thought I was gonna let him ransack her stuff. I don't know. A week after me and the guy broke it off. She then brought a guy to the room at 8 p.m. without warning as I was changing. 2 seconds earlier, this guy would have seen me in my underwear. I got so angry I went for a walk around campus. When I came back, she's like, "You good?" Call it petty, but I threw it right back in her face. Next time, give me notice when you're bringing someone to the room like I had to. I was just done pulling my pants up as you opened the door. She goes, "I didn't think he was going to come in. I thought he was going to wait in the hall while I got something." I said, "Still, I wouldn't know it as a heads up that someone is coming to our room. I had to do it for you." She said, "That was different. But whatever. I'm sorry." Next, "Can you wait to do your laundry, like wait for me to wake up? The wheels of your basket woke me up." "You couldn't pay me $2 billion to make this crap up. I am fuming." I turned around so slowly, like I was in a horror movie, to glare at her to say, "What? What did you just say?" She goes, "The wheels woke me up. You mind waiting to do your laundry?" I wanted to scream. I said, "I told you yesterday I was getting up early to catch the train because I have to take my grandfather to chemo. You knew this. I wasn't going to wait until you decided to get up to do my laundry and miss the train. I told you yesterday." She said, "Yeah, but I didn't know how early. It just woke me up." I go, "Well, I'm sorry I disturbed you again because I have things to do, but I'm not going to wait around for you to wake up for me to make the slightest noise." That's exactly the attitude you should be giving to roommates. Perfect. Well done. She didn't say anything. When she came back in the room, she goes, "Are you good? You seem upset." I said, "I'm not upset. You seem to be the one who has a problem." She goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I put my cream on too loud. I have to wait for my laundry. I can't have lights on when you say. The temperature has to be what you say despite how hot I feel. I haven't asked for anything except that you put your food in containers and not leave chicken left open for a week in the fridge." And that just helps everybody. She looks at me and says, "I don't have a problem. It's just things wake up, and I want to sleep." I said, "I'm sorry you want to sleep, but I have responsibilities that require me to wake up early." She didn't say anything, and I left to go to the train. December, I ended up in the ER because of my tailbone, causing me too much pain. I couldn't move at all. I was in the ER until 2 a.m. She knew this. She knew for a week I'd been enduring pain to do things quietly in the dark, hunched over because I was scared to wake her. I never experienced pain like that in my entire life, and I was barely sleeping at this point. You'd think that, having been in the ER for 11 hours, she'd say, "Don't worry about any noise," or "Turn the light on if you need." Nope. Hell, maybe I'm asking too much of her. No. But I would at least think that's common courtesy for someone who's been in pain. The next day, she kept insisting on seeing what was on my tailbone. Weirdo. So, help me, God is my witness, I can't make this up. She argues with me in the bathroom, asking to see. I got heated and said, "You want to see it so bad? Just look it up on your phone. I'm not pulling my pants down." Yeah, that's majorly weird. She looks it up and goes, "Oh, that's not so bad." The next week, I ended up in the ER again because I needed this thing removed. It became infected. I scheduled surgery, and until then, I had to keep checking and covering the area. How I did that? In a communal bathroom where anyone could just walk in, and in a communal stall where I had to be careful how I did things, if not the gauze would no longer be sanitary for me to use. I spent the next week and a half miserable. From November all the way till I went home for winter break, I would wake up every hour to check the time on my phone because I was so paranoid of my alarm going off. I'd get up at 5:30 a.m. every day for the next month, even when I didn't have class, and bring all my stuff to the bathroom and get ready there. She started accusing me of putting perfume on in the room, even though I hadn't in 3 months. What you want to do is get one of those little plug-in things that release perfume randomly and hide it somewhere she's not going to find it. Or you can also get battery-powered ones that'll be easier to secrete. Didn't hear that from me, though. Why didn't I put my metal coffee cup a different way in the fridge, because it made too much noise when I wanted water? I had to shut off the AC because she was too cold, regardless of me being someone who has bad night sweats. In January, she ended up packing up on a random Tuesday. There we go. Texted me that she was moving out because of her untreated autism or allergies, and I never heard from her again for the rest of the year. I had to compromise everything, but she couldn't even put a Chipotle bowl or chicken in a goddamn Tupperware that, opening the fridge, the room stunk of old meat. That's my roommate's story. Thanks for watching. And the fifth and final story for today is my arm is numb. Because I was leaning on it. Oh, what the hell. Bonus story. Roommate couple left a please clean note after I stopped being their live-in maid. Yes, I'm leaning on the arm again. I'm done. By working minute 9912. I need some perspective and advice on how to handle my roommates with oven gloves. For the first year we lived together, I did all the cooking, cleaning, and household management. Every single bit of it. I finally got burned out, and about 5 months ago I completely stopped. I only clean up after myself, which is very reasonable. As you can guess, the common areas have become a disaster. They've started leaving passive-aggressive notes telling me to clean specific messes they made. In the past, I usually just did it to avoid conflict, but I'm done. And I've got to say, I respect and appreciate that you've matured as a person to the point that you're refusing to be pushed around by them. The latest note, left on the fridge next to a mess they made, just says, "Please clean." The please is new. It feels like a manipulation tactic because their previous ruder note stopped working on me. I did not clean it, I am leaving it there. I am preparing for the argument that is definitely coming. How would you handle this? How do I finally get it through to them that I am not their housekeeper and we need a fair system? Say that. You don't need to be polite about this. I mean, don't yell. I mean, keep your voice nice and neutral. But drop some facts on them. It sounds like they need it. Did all chores for a year for my roommate couple. Stopped 5 months ago. They now leave notes demanding I clean. Here's the update. I took the collective advice given on Reddit and finally talked to my roommates. It was direct, but I stayed calm and used a lot of the scripts that I was provided. The immediate result? They actually listened. They cleaned up the mess from the note today, and we've agreed to sit down next week on our mutual day off to create a formal chore schedule and system. This is a huge first step. I know it's just the beginning, and the real test will be if they stick to it, but it's progress I didn't have before I posted. Your messages did more than just give me advice. They made me feel justified and far less alone in this. From the people who told me to stop being a doormat to those who shared their own identical stories, it all helped me more than you know. It's so nice to hear a story with a positive outcome on here. I wonder if it's just that they assumed there was some sort of tacit agreement, and it took them a while for the penny to drop, but great. They're not a lost cause. They get to live. And that brings us to the end of today's Roommates video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories in this video. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by signing up for my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. Just a second. Right, sorry. I was just checking when my next birthday shout-out was. I know I've got a few coming up between September, October, November. Patreon page. If you support me there for $1 or more a month, you get early access to all the videos at once on a Monday. And I'm animated now, so that's more bang for your buck. There is also a link to my merchandise store on Teespring. We can get mugs, t-shirts, and hoodies and such. And my various social medias, like there's Discord, that's down there as well. Threads, I believe I added recently. And possibly some other things I'm forgetting about. There was one thing I saw the other day. I think, hang on, I don't mention that. What is it? Help. Oh, yes. It's my contact email. That's kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's the one I use for my YouTube channel. I do have another more private email for special things. Mostly paying bills and stuff. But that one is if you want to send me stories, if you want to request a shout out, or you are serious about business inquiries and you can actually tell me something about my channel in the process instead of, hey, I love your work and blah, blah, blah. Those spam emails. Because all those spam emails, they have this same pitch, and you read it and you're thinking, you've never even seen my channel. But you can always tell the ones that are just random, because they call me King of the Cities, or the ones that call me Hellfreezer. I know they've at least got the email from YouTube. So at least those ones are trying. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. So until next time, thank you. No, I'm not. I'm gonna do a question of the day. There we are. Give you perspective, it is almost 4 a.m. I've had a busy week, and such a wonderfully busy week, in a good way. So I'm just trying to get all my recording done by the time I go to bed so that I can edit on Saturday, but I at least can give my voice a couple of days rest, because I need to give my voice a little bit of rest before I do any more recording on Monday and Tuesday. So, question of the day. And today's question is... I had one earlier, but I went completely blank. Do you have anything you own that you should probably just upgrade or replace it, but you're determined to repair it as much as you can to keep them going? For example, my Bose headphones, I've priced it out. I need about $30 worth of parts, so I'm going to order them next week. I need to replace the volume up and down button. I need to replace the charging port and the pads on the ear pads, and finally the pad on top. They all need replacing. Usually the ear pads need replacing about once a year, just because I go through them quickly for some reason. But I'd rather spend the £30 repairing those and getting them into working condition again, because I know they will. They're actually very simple repairs to make. It sounds complicated, but very simple repairs. It's just a few screws and a few ribbon cables. And that means that these very $200-300 headphones of mine will last for another few years, hopefully, because it's just, I really like them. I have Sennheiser headphones, which are also meant to be like fancy, expensive ones. They're just not very good. I've never had a good experience with Sennheiser. I don't recommend them, and I don't speak highly of them. Although the customer service is excellent. That much I will say about them. The ones I bought that were faulty had a 2-year warranty on them, and I hadn't realized it was that long. I thought I'd missed it, and I'd sent the ones I had that were faulty back to them when I realized, oh, I've still got a few months, and they replaced them with a new pair, which still sucked. Sound quality's terrible. Anyway, leave your answers in a comment below. And before we go, I need to shave. I'm not going to shave on camera, but I do need to shave, I just noticed. Before we go, let's take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. Speaking of headphones, these KRK ones are actually very good if you need just basic monitoring headphones. You know, like basic bitch, just doesn't do anything fancy to the audio, as I am quite a basic bitch. Okay, let's see. And this one came from BadRoommates85, and it was a skill that you feel has fallen by the wayside. I think I mentioned cursive writing, then commiserated about my awful handwriting. Today's answer comes from Avery Satos. Oddly enough, learning how to use a PC. I've read several recent articles about how Gen X and younger have higher rates of computer illiteracy and are unfamiliar with programs that are used by companies or file structures in a desktop OS. They are infinitely more at home on smartphones, which unfortunately aren't what employers are looking for yet, usually. Thank you very much for your answer, Avery Santos. That's surprising and a little disappointing. You generally think with younger generations technological literacy would go up. Therefore, they'd be familiar with like the most essential programs on a computer. Well, that's pretty sad, and hopefully it's something that is correct going forward. These days, computer skills are essential life skills. And with that, I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.